What it do? Dream Team. It's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with reasons you should never choose UK over USA. If I had known these, I would not have moved to the UK. I'm intrigued at this video. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. What we got?
What I'm going to say is going to be like a shock to most of you. But honestly, come to think of it, if I knew then all the things I know now, I honestly don't think I would have come to the UK. UK is a lovely place. UK has changed my life. But let me say it again. If I knew then all the things that I know now, I don't think I would have come. And that's what I'll be sharing with you in today's video. Stop that. Hi guys, welcome once again to my channel. My name is Nanelle Griselda. I'm a Ghanaian trained nurse currently practicing in the UK. On this channel, I talk about opportunities for people to relocate to the UK, life in the UK as an immigrant in general. So if these are topics that interest you, please do consider subscribing. Like I said, I'm a nurse, okay? And this is, basically towards my healthcare workers that are moving to the UK, care assistants, nurses, doctors, honestly, even other skilled workers as well. See, if I knew then what I know now, I would have moved to the US and not the UK. No shade to the UK. I love the UK. UK is a very peaceful country, relatively peaceful compared to the US, blah, 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 blah. But look at this. I had been in the UK for about almost 3 years when I gave birth, and my baby is not British citizen. No, he's not. That's what people think. You don't get automatic citizenship when you give birth in the UK. Although I'm a health worker, I go to work.
Really? Even if the baby, I thought if the baby's born there, the baby doesn't get automatic citizenship.
I work well, I pay my taxes, I stay out of trouble. My child is not British citizen. Until I get my indefinite leave to remain, my child cannot get a British passport. So my child has a Ghanaian passport, no problem. Visitors go to the US, they just visit and they give birth and they get passports for their children. They just go and visit too, and they intentionally give birth there and they get passports for their children. We all know the value of the red passports and then the US passport. We all know they're valuable and they can take you places, compared to our green passports and, the other African passports. We all know the value of it. But in the UK, these immigration rules are tough. Your child is not going to get British citizenship just because you're a nurse here and you've given birth. No. So look at this. Think about it though. Think about it. If you're a nurse and then you go through the whole registration process, okay, and then you are coming to the UK, you can come with your spouse and your dependents only below 18 years old. Your spouse, regardless of the age, can join you, but your dependent, if they are above 18 years, they cannot join you to the UK. I have a friend who is a nurse and has a son who was 18 at the time that they were coming. So this was an issue. They had to find another type of visa for the child to come through. Look at the inconvenience. So that means you'd have to leave your child there who's 18 plus. If you're a nurse going to the U,
I feel like I don't know. I don't know how bad that one is. Cause at 18 plus, I was moved away from the fam anyway. I was at it. But I know it's not like that these days a lot of the time. But I don't know. At 18 plus, I feel like you shouldn't automatically get to come. Because in most countries, you're considered your own adult at that age. So I don't know. Is it different in the U.S.? That's an interesting.
To leave your child there who's 18 plus. If you're a nurse going to the US, the visa you get, you're allowed to take your spouse and your children up to 21 years old. Okay. If you're a foreign trained nurse coming to the UK, you get a skilled worker visa or health and care worker visa. You are not entitled to public funds. You are on a temporal visa. You cannot enjoy benefits that permanent residents are enjoying. No, you cannot. But in the US, you get your green card same week you arrive in the US. Same week you get your permanent residency. Same week. And after a couple of years, you can apply for your US passport. Think about it. So that way, you are entitled to enjoy every benefit that permanent residents in the US enjoy enjoy from day one. Here in the UK, you cannot enjoy all those benefits from day one. You know what? You had to stay here for 5 years.
God
5
dang.
years apply for permanent residency, which you can be denied after working here for 5 years and paying taxes for 5 years and being law abiding for 5 years. It's not guaranteed. And even that, if you watch my previous video, you have to pass a test where you're going to be asked questions about British history, modern life in the UK before they give you the permanent residency. When your colleagues are getting that same permanent residency in the same week that they arrive in the US, the first week that they arrive in the US, and enjoy all of it, you have to wait 5 years, which is also not guaranteed even after the 5 years. And the shocking thing about it all is that the application for the indefinite leave to remain is over £2,000 per person. So if you have 4 children, you, your partner, and 4 children, I'm even lost. That's 6 people, and you're paying £2,000 plus per person for the permanent residency. You're looking at 12,000. Do you?
God dang. God, UK. They said UK said we don't want nobody from anywhere else in this country. We gonna make it hard. Nah, but this is very interesting to me. I feel like if you're paying taxes in that country, then you should get the benefits that residents get. Unless your taxes are like cut back, so because you're not a permanent resident, you don't gotta pay all the taxes and they're cut back. Understandable. But if I'm paying full taxes in a country, then I feel like I should get all the benefits that the permanent resident gets. That's just how I feel about that. I don't know. Once again, I don't know how it works. It might be the situation where they don't have to pay as much in taxes, but if they do have to pay the amount that all the permanent residents are paying in taxes, they should get permanent resident benefits.
£1,000 plus per person for the permanent residency. You're looking at 12,000. Do you think you could have saved 12,000 if you do not have a side hustle because you have 4 kids?
Nah.
You are not single.
Nah.
You have 4 kids. So in the entire 5-year period, you are taking care of all these 4 kids. Do you think you'd have 12,000 lying there just for this application? And you cannot say you will not, because if you do not do it for your children, and let's say they have to go to the university, they would have to pay international fees. If you want them to pay fees as home students, that means you have to get the permanent residency for them. So your kids above 18 will have to write the Life in the UK test as well. That is not expensive. That's only £50. But you have to apply for them as well. That's over £2,000 per one application. I remember when I first came to the UK, people were complaining about this. Those that had been here for long were complaining bitterly about this. And it got to a point, the agency I came with, they had to organize something where, you gather money for people that were due to apply so that they'll pay us back later. Something like that, like to get a fund. During COVID, we were like the BAME community, the Black and Asian minority community. We were the ones like mostly affected with the COVID and were dying, Looking at our numbers, it was strange that we're the ones that were dying. So we did a petition, we signed a petition, they passed a link around that we should sign that they give us permanent residency. They did not. So you have to toil for 5 years when your colleagues in the US are getting it the same week, the first week they arrive in the US. If you're a nurse or a health professional, if you're on a health and care worker visa and you come to the UK, you are tied to your employer. You can only do a maximum 20 hours for a second employer. So there's a limit to the amount of money you can earn if you want to go by the rules, so that your indefinite leave to remain application will not be denied in the future. Your permanent residency application will not be denied. You can only do maximum 20 hours for a second employer. During the COVID, they scraped this off because they realized that they needed us. But after that, it came back. And even that 20 hours that you can do for another employer, it has to be a job in the same occupation code. So if you came as a doctor, it has to be a doctor job. If you came as a care assistant, it has to be a care assistant job. If you came as a nurse, it has to be a nurse job. You cannot do it and go and work as a secretary or as a sales assistant. That does not happen in the US. So let's say you're a nurse, but you also have talent in, let me say, cooking, and you want to start your small restaurant. You cannot. But you can do that in the US. But you can't do that in the UK because you have to wait for that permanent residency before you can do all these things. So there's a limit to the amount of money you can earn. Is that fair? See, in the US,
this is wild. I'm a little shocked at this. I'm a little shocked by this. This definitely seems wild to me. UK, is this all true, UK? Is this? Okay, keep going then,
things.
girl.
So there's a limit to the amount of money you can earn. Is that fair? See,
No,
in the US,
it's not.
although the process for migration to the US is very long, they don't have anything like red list, where if you don't know what red list, I've explained several times on my channel. I'll leave a link so you can watch. The UK, there's something called red list, where if you are from certain countries these days, it's extremely difficult to get a job. Even though they need us, it's still so difficult to get a job if you're from any of the red list countries. There's nothing like red list in the US. There's nothing like that. Even just Ireland here, there's nothing like red list. If we say weather is disrespectful, it's the UK weather. The UK weather does not care what the weather forecast says. It will do what it wants. It is highly unpredictable. The weather forecast will say we're going to have a sunny day, and the UK weather will say, ha ha ha, I will rain. Highly unpredictable weather. We are supposed to be in spring, but we had the most severe snow in the entire year just a few days ago. I mean, how? So unpredictable. So unpredictable. Although this is not a known written fact, it is said that there are more opportunities in the US than in the UK. They say the American dream. They say the US is the land of opportunities. So in that sense, if you have a partner or a spouse who is not into healthcare and the person is coming to the UK, they may struggle to find their professions in the UK. They may have to end up doing minimum wage jobs. But according to people, like I said, this is not a known established fact, but according to people, it's much easier for your spouse or your dependents who are not even in the health sector to get good jobs in the US than in the UK. Salary. Let's not even go there. Do you see the strike? Do you see the nurses outside with the placards? Do you see?
I came in as an international nurse. When we came into England, with the pay that was offered, it was just right, you know, to take care of our needs. And after a few years, the cost of living has gone up. I can't even afford to pay my rent.
Oh, wow.
And one of the reasons why I'm striking is for better pay. You know, we offer the service and we believe that we should be rewarded.
When you compare Western countries, a lot of
I'm intrigued. Now I'm interested to see what they get paid, what nurses in the UK get paid. Because if they're going on strike, it ain't enough. But our cost of living here has gone up too, and the US has definitely shot up too. But I feel like nurses get paid pretty decent here. I would think. A lot of people become nurses here. And I never really hear them striking or anything. I don't know. I'm intrigued to see the difference in pay.
Western countries and how health professionals are paid. The UK is one of the least paid, and we've been going on strike. And see, it got to a point there were nurses that were even leaving the profession to work in restaurants, and I don't blame them. But you will get your time's worth in the US. I interviewed a nurse in the US who has bought a house worth about $1 million, and I was saying that there's no way a UK nurse can ever do that on the nurse's salary unless
I don't know what hospital she was at. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know how much nurses make, but I know they can't make that much. That much? You gotta be a nurse in some hospital that work with celebrities or something. I don't know. $1 million crib on a nurse salary? Yeah, we might have to watch his video. We might have to watch that video because I need to know what's going on.
And I was saying that there's no way a UK nurse can ever do that on the nurse's salary unless they have other side hustles. It's not going to be possible. That's what we have to do here, because you are a nurse. You went to school 4 years or 3 years, just like your colleague nurses, okay? They did English, you did CBT, they decided to go to the US, and now with the same qualification, went to the same school. They have all these benefits and you have all these restrictions. Think about it. If I knew then what I know now, things would have been different. I'm almost 5 years deep, so you know, I've paid my dues. Now I'm almost there. I'm getting to the finish line by God's grace. But if you are yet to come, or if you are just a few months here, recently we even did a petition again. They said they will not give us permanent residence from day one. They won't. In one of my videos, I interviewed a Nigerian nurse who moved to the UK and left to the US to do the comparison. And one of the things that she said that still remains with me is that you are not threatened with your PIN in the US like the way you are in the UK. If you're yet to come to the UK, you'll be confused with what I'm about to say. You may not understand, but from the first day you pass your OSCE, From the day you pass your OSCE, the only thing you hear is protect your pin, protect your pin, protect your pin. Every day, if you're going to work, you go with anxiety to work. It's like you're always being threatened, you're going to lose your pin. If you do this, you're going to lose your pin. You're going to lose your pin. A nurse took a train and then she failed to pay the required amount that she was supposed to pay, and she lost her pin. Recently, a nurse failed to alert her employer there was an error in her payment and she's lost her pin. She's been struck off the nursing register. When I spoke to this nurse who worked in the UK and is now working in the US to make her comparison, that's one of the first things she said. She said, you don't get threatened that you're going to lose your pin in the US so easily like the way we are threatened here almost every day. It's like you are always scared at work. You're always scared you're going to lose your pin. It's so scary, and every day people lose their pin for sometimes they're very minor things, and it applies to all healthcare professionals in the UK. But it's not so like that in the US. At least they give some form of room to breathe in the US, according to this lady who's worked in both places.
But in the UK, I'm not saying they don't respect their nurses. I feel like they adore nurses there. But the thing I never liked is, as an overseas nurse, when you do something, maybe you had an issue with one of your colleagues or your manager, the next thing you hear is, I will report it to NMC, and I never liked that part. So, but here in the US, I've never heard anything of such. And we have board of nursing, but it will be hard for somebody to say, I will report you to your board of nursing, except you committed a big offense.
I get you. So think about all these things. One, the fact that you have to wait for 5 years to get your permanent residency, which is not even assured. The entire 5-year period, you're not entitled to any sort of public fund. After 5 years, the indefinite leave to remain is expensive. You're paying about $2,400 per person. So if you're a family of 6, look at how much you're using to pay. Meanwhile, your counterparts in the US are getting the permanent residency from day one, and they don't have to pay that huge amount that you're paying. The salary here, obviously, if it was good, will not be striking and all that. The salary in the US, obviously, we all know in the entire world is one of the best for nurses and for health professionals. The fact that
makes sense, because I swear to God, when I was in college, everybody was going into nursing. So many of my colleagues was going into nursing. I was like, bro. Why everybody? I guess it makes sense now.
You give birth here and your child is not automatically a citizen. No. And the fact that you give birth in the US, even in passing, the taxes, they say the US tax system is a bit more friendly than the UK. The fact that you cannot do any other job aside the same job that you came to do here on your visa, you can't do any other job, and you can't work for another employer for more than 20 hours a week. Look at all these restrictions and look at all these benefits that the US has. Obviously, there are other negative things about the US that I did not highlight, that I'll do so in another video, but just wait for yourself, all these things, and you choose. I mean, I love the UK, but sometimes all these things,
Well, I mean, the way she put it, it's saying I would have chose the US. The way she put it in this video, I see she got a video that says this will stop you from moving to the USA. So I don't know, the roles might be switched around, but the way she put it in this one, I would have chose the US. God dang. That's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. It's your boy Neal. Out.